Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow YouTubers, Facebookians. Welcome to another edition of Living Simply and Fun. I'm your host, Rita, aka Aries. I've been meaning to do this video for a while. I made one video of this topic, but I was so vulgar and drunk that I told Aaron I should redo it, and he's like, "Yeah, I never bother with it." But anyways, this video is to answer some questions. First of all, I'm going to go through the comments, and I'm going to try to speed this video up as fast as I can because I want my Bible time and my Book of Mormon time for some of you out there. First of all, I want to say welcome to my show. First of all, these answers will be going to Cigar Addict. I know Cigar Dog watches. I think it was Cigar Dog or... Anyway, no, it might have been someone else. But anyways... Cigar Dog might have been banned or something. Well, anyways, one guy was banned on my other channel for basically saying that there is no God, because if there was a God, he wouldn't have created me. So my mom must have slept with a cracked out homeless guy when I was born, but that's not true. My dad was a special forces, so, but we won't go into my family history in this video, so... Cigar Addict says, not to be rude, but you never answer question. Well, I think I answered in the previous video, Cigar Addict, but what I need is a little facial work done, some more makeup to be worn, and I was going to do a makeup video, not an actual one about makeup, but attraction, but I'm just going to condense it all into here for makeup and looks and attraction and etc. I need bottom surgery and I need some face surgery, so that's your question, so... and bottom surgery, So, first of all, Cindy says, how disgusted I am with YouTube. Well, you have your opinion. I'm going to have a nice, quiet debate with you. But actually, I'm going to say, for the most part, I'm going to stay neutral in your comments. But I will answer to the best of my knowledge. Yes, most trans people, and I don't know if you're transsexual or not. Aaron says he doesn't think so, but, it could be. But you said condemn not only transgendered community, but women as a whole. Well, I did, but I didn't. You see, the transgendered community, I'm going to touch base with transsexuality first. When I was in Australia, transitioning over there, starting in my program, the transition or the real life test, I'd have to go to these group meetings, and all they wanted to talk about is deceiving men, getting dong, getting more dong, maybe getting married, getting, the guy had to have a car, money, security. He's got to allow them to be the housewife. He's got to allow her to be the mother who they adopt and all this and on and on and on. And I've asked the question many times, why is it? And they said, well, I'm a real woman. Just like the genetic women. Well, the genetic women can give birth. Some of them can't give birth because of birth defects in their womb or your uterus, ovaries. But for the most part, they can give birth. Now, they claim that they're the new woman of the future, that every man, and I'm talking transgendered women, trans men are downright sweet guys that are always looking out to their women. My sister tried hooking me up when she was working at the college, and they said, no offense, I want a genetic girl. Well, they knew how to get them. Most trans men come out to their women, and the women eventually just say, oh, okay, and some of them say, whoa, no, I'm not dating a trans man because... you're biologically a woman, and that would make me lesbian. So some of them get really offended. Then the ones that know they've transitioned, that's been with them through their transition, they fall in love, they get together, they get married, and, artificial insemination, and the guy is the father, and he takes care of the kid, and he never tells Junior, he was born male, which, in my opinion, that's fine, Transgender women as well as genetic, money, and good looks. Well, there's where the thing is. The trans women do want money, security, and good looks. I've not met one yet. I met a woman who had $300,000 in plastic surgery, and she says, well, even if you were wealthy, she didn't want me, but I never made a pass at her. Aaron did, but the only thing she said is my breasts are my asset, and my hips and thighs, but the guys don't want to stick money as a stripper because... hold on a second. I'm going to turn the heater on. The guy turns around, and said, the guy, she says she needs someone who's got security because she needs a retirement and she needs to offset what she spent to complete her sex change. and she's like 24, so it's like to each their own. So on the neutrality thing, it's to each their own. I mean, you make some valid points. I'm not going to reprimand you. I'm not going to say you're an a-hole or a bitch or whatever. But on the transgendered spectrum, most of these male to females, whether they attractive ones or non-attractive ones, they all have their high standards, just like a genetic woman. And a genetic woman, you know, has their standards high. And I'll get to that in a moment, because I have a story about that. And this is just from my experience, so only mine. Now, a lot of them are stuck up. Well, every woman that Aaron's talked about, and by the way, I drank heavily last night because of two reasons. One was this conversation was bothering me so long. Aaron's like, oh, well, you know, you shouldn't let it eat you. Certain things eat me because, you know, I know you're completely right, and I have to be neutral. I'm just giving you my opinion from my own perspective. I respect your opinion and every detail. You know, let's see. This is one of the most ignorant statements I've ever heard. The world has people who just have described. However, they're in a minority. Most people regard as gender what someone who respects them and wants to be with them. That's true. Aaron was telling me tonight he wanted someone who can be a roommate, a lover, and a best friend, and not a sexual way. He's not sexual. I dated him and was with him for 4 years. He said 1 year, but it actually was 4. But then he wanted to move out to his own apartment because he snored, and he begged the former manager to give him his own place. And the former manager said, oh, you're a sweet guy. Any woman will want you. He says, yeah, right. You know, and my uncle, who was gay, told me I could get any woman I wanted if I was clean cut, wasn't transgendered, and wore the right clothes. But I was disabled, so he said that was going against me. But hell, being transgendered was going against me anyway, so what the hell? I wasn't looking for love. I just found Aaron by mistake, and well, he's been my best friend for 10 years, so you know. But anyways, your first statement here is good. Then you say, now I'm going to say some things that might be mean and a little uncalled for, but you have angered me severely. I am a woman, I have a successful career, and I do not want a man who I would have to take care of, or someone who I'm not attracted to. Well, my mom met a man who she loved off and on for 25 years. She said the way to a man's heart is if you can get the man to wear good clothes, and she gave him like a $300 gold-plated razor blade. He kept it all his life, kept it up, kept using it, took it to the shop, said, hey, my razor needs a new battery. He used it till he died, which was this year. He regretted my mom dying before him, but he was a walking miracle for 30 years with cancer off and on, where he had pieces of his head tear off, and my mom would go with him to the clinic, and I'd be like, Mom, he's not attractive anymore. Why do you stay with him? His personality. I mean, when he was growing up, he was a stout man that if you got out of line, he'd hit you and use the whip or the belt or the switch on you. So you try not to talk bad, and after a while, you got to respect a man because of it. But, you know, my sister, and this is the story I have about the whole thing about, you know, what you said is, you know, attraction. Well, my sister married my mom's boyfriend's son, and that's why they couldn't get married, because he's like, oh, well, but you know, so they dated off and on for 30 years. 4 years after they got married, they divorced, my sister and his son, my nephew's dad, because he beat me to an inch of my life one night for locking me out of my home, and my mom said, that's enough. So my sister said someone has to put some, you know, some power into the place, and since she was a single mother, she wasn't going to let me walk on thin ice or thick ice or get away with it, whatever you call it. I'm not good with words, Miss Cindy, 1981, but you get the point. So anyway, she basically turned around and, you know, one night threw a ring in the toilet, and he had to fish it out, but he didn't flush it. She just threw it in there and was angry. Well, they got divorced. She found another guy a year later, 2 years later, when she gave birth to my niece, and he was an abuser, and finally she got rid of him. He had the looks, he had everything she wanted, but he was an abuser and a pothead, so finally she gave up. She found another guy who was an alcoholic and abuser and stayed with him for 13 years. Well, when she threw him to the curb, she found a guy that was making $250,000, lived with him, he had a house. He was going to go places and go to Carolina and move there for Bowings. Well, things fell apart. He threatened me again with Aaron. Police got involved and the manager found out because he threatened the manager. He went to jail. And the night that my mother died, the day my mother died, the coroner, or not the coroner, the, what do you call it, the guy that handles the funeral arrangements, I have as a second family member to sign. If anything happens, I'm liable for the bill, blah, blah, blah. So, anyways, she was so pissed off at me, she didn't want to talk to me for 3 years. We put her boyfriend in jail. Well, it wasn't me, it was the manager, because the manager got threatened with her life. He was going to go and shoot them if we didn't hand over the keys, the credit card, the debit card, everything else. Well, we found out the debit card was on my mom's best friend's account, too. They were jointly. So she just stopped all payments, got all the money back, and then sent the final payment, which was like $900 to the funeral home, leaving only a $700 balance for cremation. And my sister was furious. Then she's like, no one likes you, no one likes Aaron. They all want you dead in this town. She was pissed. So she left with this guy, stayed with him in North Carolina, until one day he beat her almost an inch of her life. She found out her daughter was on crack, coke, and meth, came back to clean her up. She got into crack, coke, and meth, and stayed with, the guy with bowlings. He got fired because he was on coke and drank, and he has a warrant out in this county. Police always stopped us like every month. They, hey, you know where that guy is? Heard he's in Chelan. Okay, thanks. But anyway, she came out recently and she tried getting an apology again. This time, she's with a guy who's a multi-millionaire, has multiple businesses, thinks her daughter, if her daughter got cleaned up properly at his expense, that she can go to Harvard and Yale. Well, guess what? She thinks she knows, my niece thinks she knows better of the Bible, and she wants to get into the Bible. And one night, she was saying she was so cracked out that she had to say in the name of Jesus Christ many times over. And she's like, you guys don't know anything about the Bible. So I give Bible quotes, and she's like, so then she got angry because I wouldn't let her at my house. Well, Aaron put her up at his place because Aaron's a nice guy. And well, a month later, when Aaron was just going through a wish list that I was doing, he said, oh, yeah, Rita wants these strategy guides for games that she might be interested in playing. Okay, he goes and looks for his games. Gone. So Aaron says, my sister stole them. He knows I would never steal from him. Sister stole them, but his best friend was up there, so he could have handed off to his best friend and then said she did it so he can get him replaced new, which is about $1,500. So, anyways, more than less, he's a nice guy. But anyways, you can be disgusted, but my sister kept saying, well, if I just had my surgeries, I found a nice rich guy, I would be set too. I'm not into money, basically. I am more into being content and happy. And, I talked to Aaron about this, and Aaron basically was saying tonight that you missed the point, in his video. And I'm like, I'm not going there. I'm going to be neutral. My only stories are what I've heard from the transgendered people and what I've heard from my sister. I haven't seen many people. Heck, I'm 36, okay? I'm transgendered. Now, if I was a genetic guy, which I am by birth, most transgendered people lie to their guy and say, oh, I was born intersex. I had a penis and a vagina. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, then, right before marriage, and I've been asked to do weddings many times, so the guy would sit there and say, do you believe in them? I'm like, I can't deny or confirm they were intersex. I said, but if you really want to know the truth, just go to their parents because they're helping pay the wedding bill, not funerals. I've done, I'm a minister with the Universal Life Church. All of a sudden, Cindy, 1981, he goes to the mother and dad and says, was your daughter born both male and female, had both vagina and penis? No. They had a sex change. He'd throw a fit, and that was it. He didn't want to know any of them. He turned to me and says, how is it someone like you, Reverend, are honest, and even with your looks, yet these girls aren't? I said, because they want a guy so bad that they know that they were once a man, but they don't want the man to know. And then when they do find the man, they want the man to be clean cut, 6 or 8 pack, money, security, house, everything. So they say, oh, gold digger? I said, 99% of them. But with genetic woman, the only one I can confirm or deny it, in my opinion, Miss Cindy, 1981, is, and I'm going to be straight up with you, is my sister. That's why I have a think that, sometimes. But I also know in my heart that I can't confirm or deny everything Aaron says. I mean, he's got his own opinion, So, anyways, you say, take care of someone who I'm not attracted to. Exactly. My stepfather you know, I used to watch TV a lot. He adopted me. He wasn't married to my mother. And he would talk to me and he'd say, Rita, I'm not giving you my birth name. He says, Rita, what is your ideal woman? I said, one with a good personality, for the most part. Their body doesn't matter. Well, my stepbrother and my mother tried teaching me the birds and bees with Playboy. I always used to say, oh, I want a Playboy model. Well, he's like, why would you want a woman who's got plastic? They're all plastic. Breast implants, facial work, this, that, or the other. He even showed me an article where Hugh Hefner at the time was paying like $40,000 at the time. Now it's like $90,000 for breast implants per year. I'm like, oh. So, you know, personality is number one. Now, as I said to Cigar Addict and you in the beginning of this video, I'm going to discuss the other part of looks and attractions too in this video, so you can get my input on it, okay? Let's see. So, F you if you say I want a good-looking man who takes care of his body and makes good money. If you hit on me, I would shoot you down so fast your head would spin. You have no right to upset a woman who do not want to be with you. It's their right to be who they want to. Exactly, and that's what I try to tell Aaron tonight. But, you know, I mean, it's like me. I make passes at women, and, you know, being attracted to women, I class myself as lesbian, and I know a genetic woman does not, a genetic woman who's lesbian, and I will be straightforward, does not want a trans woman. It's very, very, very rare. It's like 0.5%. So anyways, because of the 0.5% thing, it's very down in the dumps, you know. So when it comes to that, you gotta realize that it's not all peaches and creams, or as Forrest Gump said, life is not like a box of chocolate. You know, life's like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're gonna get. Well, Aaron, on the other hand, he has his own opinions. He likes women that are small-breasted and redhead or brunette, but he wants, you know, he says he wants someone who's got a good personality, and he turns around and tells me tonight that all the girls that he knew growing up in high school and stuff that he was friends with, went to dinners with, coffees with, you know, because they said he was friendly, and then all of a sudden he basically came out and said how he felt. They never wanted to know him again. And he's like, and then I go on Facebook, Rita, and I look for him, and they're all single still. He's like, what the fudge? So I'm like, that's between you and them, not me. I'm your best friend. You can tell me anything, you know. Finally, if a woman doesn't want to be with you because you're fat, from this video I'm gathering it's a recurring reason for you. My suggestion: lose some damn weight. Women, regardless of what you might think, find men well taken care of. A body is attractive. You're a pathetic excuse for a man. I suggest you thank God Rita is willing to put up with your weak A. Rita may be transgender now and a woman, but she's more of a man than you will ever be with your poor effing me attitude. Well, I guess that could be a compliment. I mean, in times, you know, I've tried to tell him, you know, and I'm going to be straightforward with you. Sometimes I drink heavy amounts of alcohol just to forget, you know, because he likes his video games, and he says every woman that I met thinks that after a certain age you got to get out there and work, and you can't have video games, you can't watch animes, you can't watch movies, music, listen to music, or read mangas. To each their own, you know. Cindy 1981, to each their own. And then Aaron writes, so you say women don't want a money with good looks, and in paragraph 2 you state you want a man with money and good looks. Well, I didn't see that in your thing. Maybe he took that upon himself, but from my point, you made your good statement, and I have to stand by you. Let's see. I'm sorry you're not shallow at all. So, question: what happens if you meet a man who's cleft palate, cross-eyed, walks with a limp, and you took pity on him, blah 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 blah, and he confesses his love for you? You'd run the other way. Well, maybe you'd still stay friends with him and say, "Whoa, hold on, let's just be friends." That's fine and dandy, even if he came out and says, "I love you," you know. So, probably, that's what he says. You'd probably physically fit, perfectly combed guy who stares at other women when you go out. The guy you ask are paying attention, he seems to snap back to reality. The guy who catches your eyes like a bubble or a bauble in a jewelry store window. Good chance that a month or two you'd be crying and saying, why are all men jerks? Well, tonight me and Aaron were talking about, how was the conversation going? We were talking about the neighbor of his. I haven't seen this, but he claims he's heard the woman who's like 21 years old, perfect body, huge breasts, nice body, has 2 kids, and he says the guy beats her, abuses her, yells at her, pounds on her door, says open the effing door up, like last night he went to the manager today and complained about it. She said something about they're not renewing her lease because she has no income and he's paying all the bills, and when they research, they need to have her have a job. She isn't, so she's holed up in her place. So she's got a 10-day eviction warning if he doesn't comply with leaving, because 2:30 in the morning, apparently he woke everyone up. I must have been so drunk I didn't hear it, so, you know. Then Aaron says he's not exactly fat, he has gynecomastia. Well, growing up, when I met him, he was taking estrogens, and he was like a 40C in breast, and he wears a 40C bra if he still has to. He's on hormones for 5+ years. I've been tormented much of my life because I have larger breasts than probably 50% of the women. I hate it. Surgery is too damn expensive. Yes, but here's the thing I told him the other night, Cindy. It was last night before I got too tipsy. I said, Aaron, I've done some research. If you talk to your primary doctor, which is my primary doctor, she might get you into a specialist to say it's a genetic disorder for gynecomastia, and you can have your breasts done, your male breasts fully removed, which removes 30% of the fat, just leaving him a small belly. And then he doesn't have it anymore, but he's got to get her to do it. Instead, she won't do it because I'm on hormones for 5 years. They're going to say I caused it. Well, to each their own. I've done the research. I can't say anything more, you know. I have blacks out and seizures. I've seen him only have one seizure, and I've seen him black out once in my entire life. He was sitting there like this, and I had a huge pitcher of beer, and I said, dude, are you okay, you know? And he's just like, finally I saw a razor blade just before he had a service dog, and he cut it like this and this and this. He was bleeding everywhere. Finally comes to reality and says, I said, you okay? And he goes, yeah. I said, to clean up your arm. You cut yourself pretty bad. That's the only time I've seen him. He says if you yell at him, scream at him, he bottles it all up till he has to release himself, and then he's got scars all over his legs and his arms. So, and then they claim he's got multiple personality or dissociative identity disorder. So, as well as minor heart problems. I don't know if he has heart problems or spinal problems. He claims he's got heartburn and indigestion. He also has teeth problems, but that's because, you know, when he had Medicaid, everything was covered. But when they kicked him off Medicaid and said he brought in too much, then he couldn't get his dental work done. Then, you know, he goes everywhere, and every dentist is greedy. He knew a friend of his that became an oral surgeon in Florida. He had him as a friend on Facebook and said, hey, how's it going? It's me. Guy didn't even approve him. It's like, don't know the guy. And he's like, the guy's become a rich a-hole with a boat that fishes in the ocean, and the guy thinks I'm poor now and disabled and doesn't want to know me because I might need a favor, you know. Let's see, 5 miles a day, use the exercise bike. Well, probably in the mornings he does, because mostly he's with me, and when he does in the mornings, his routine is, I say, are you up? If I don't get a reply, I just do my thing until he says, yes, but give me an hour. Then when I'm ready to walk the dogs, he's like, or then he blames it on me, saying, oh, well, you know, you took too long, and the dog's got to go, you know. He eats fairly healthy and don't overeat. That's true, but he also eats things like ramen noodles, pot pies, frozen burritos, and that's the same thing I eat, but I walk everywhere with him, so, you know. You don't go to the gyms because he's bullied at them, and I have no room for a home gym, so he does what he can. That's true, but, you know, thank you for the vulgarity, thank you for the bully comments. I don't see you bullying, I just see you speaking your first rights amendments. If you are in the country here of America, you have a right to your own opinion, and like I said, I'm trying to stay neutral. I'm not trying to play favorites or anything. So it says, thank you for helping me realize that because I've dealt bad hand in life that I don't deserve love. He said he wants to be loved, but no woman wants to give him the time of day. That explains why my mother tried to kill me the day I was born. I tried to ask his dad about that. His dad did not know it, so I can't confirm or deny it. So it's what he says, so it goes. And why I was abused horribly until I was 10. Well, he told me it was till 7, until his father got custody of him. Why in school I never really had more than one friend. Why in 37 years I really haven't had a girlfriend. I suppose you can say me and Rita dated for about a year. It was 4 years. While he was transitioning, he wanted a girlfriend, he wanted a wife. Well, there you go. So it plain to me, in the words of the echo through my head for my stepfather on a daily basis, I don't deserve to live. Thank you for helping me realize what everyone has been telling me for years. I never realized it. Well, I hear that stuff all the time. When you basically try to say something like, my sister told me a few things. Then you turn around and say, no, that's not what your sister said. Your sister told me something differently. Well, one of my sisters is a double-edged sword. She'll say one thing, do another. Same goes with the whole thing, like sending an email saying, "Well, have a Merry Christmas." You know, I know I'm not welcome there because my daughter stole from you. Yet, you know, you can't blame Rita for it because Rita could have had access to your place. No, I didn't. He had the key when he went to all over the state with his friend from California. His friend from California could have got the products, but you know. And then Aaron tells me outright, I wasn't there. Walmart. Niece is wearing a nice pair of boots. She says, "Oh, what do you think, Rita?" I said, "Oh, they're nice." And Aaron's like this. And when I got home, Aaron says, "Let's walk the dogs." Okay, so we walk the dogs. And Aaron says she stole the boots right from under me. And then she says, when I was talking to my niece, she says, "Oh." I said, "Oh, got some new bras?" She said, "Oh, yeah, I got them at Walmart today." Well, Aaron says, "Yeah, she stole them. She was in the changing room 30 minutes trying on bras and panties, but she put the panties back and left the bras." Well, I can't confirm or deny that she stole them, and I can't confirm or deny that he bought them. All I know is from his words, my niece stole them, and he watched it, yet they never caught her on camera. So she must be a good kleptomaniac, quote unquote, from Aaron. So, anyways, I try to stay neutral and everything, so my apologies if I agreed with him, but my only experience was my sister. I have not seen it in my own time. Now, when it comes to other girls, like I know married women, I say, "Oh, you're looking lovely today." And they say, "Oh, thank you." Or I see a girl at the grocery store, it's 2021, I'm like, "You look lovely today." And she says, "Oh, thanks." And, you know, she always talks to me. I'm like, "Hey, here's my email address or phone number if you want to meet us at the park for dinner." No deal. "Oh, I lost it." That's fine, whatever, I don't care. Like one girl, she snuck behind me when they tapped me on my purse and goes, "Boo!" I'm like, "Where'd you come from?" "Oh, I'm a super stealthy ninja." You know, she was being funny then, and we were talking about video games, but Aaron's like, "Oh, I think she's got an interest in me." Well, why don't you ask her out? Well, every time I see her, I say, "Oh, you look lovely today." And she's like, "Oh, I don't feel lovely." I'm like, "Well, you do, you know." Like the other day, I looked and I said, "Hey, I like the way you got your bob cut. It suits you." And she says, "Oh, thanks." Aaron's like, "Yeah, it looks much better." She says, "Oh, this is my natural size. I use hair extensions." Aaron's like, "Oh, I wouldn't have noticed." I'm like, "Gee, those blend in really well. I've never heard of hair extensions." She says, "Oh, we girls use them all the time." And I say, "Oh, well, I got gray hair." And she said, "Maybe you should dye your hair red." And Aaron's like, "Meh." You know. So it says here, you generalize to the point of no return. Not all good-looking men are jerks. The point I'm trying to make is each person each person out there has something they are attracted to. Just because the person is nice and caring is thoughtful. If a girl is not attracted to them, it can't work. Well, I agree completely. I was taught personality. My stepbrother wanted a Playboy playmate. Instead, he got disowned by my stepfather because my stepfather hates Hispanics, Latinos, Mexicans, Asians, former women that aren't white and American, even blacks he would disown. He married a fat, plumpy Hispanic woman, had a child with her, and says, "Well, she has the great personality." He says, "I've gained a few pounds, Rita, but I don't regret marrying my wife." Good for you, bro. And he finally, after 14 years trying to find, it's like 31 when he married and got her pregnant, he basically said, "I found someone I care for and I'm attracted to," you know. So you're right there, you know. In these situations, we call that person a friend. Agreed. Now, sometimes if you're attracted to someone and you just want to start out as a friend and you say, "I'd like to know you better," they take offense to it because, you know, they could be a model or a cosplayer or another genetic girl, a trans woman. They're like, no. And sometimes they just come out and say it, you know, or sometimes they're like, "Oh, I could use a friend." Other times, I've talked to many girls that, you know, like one girl said she does not want to be classified with cosplayers that have breast augmentation. She said they're superficial, artificial jack-offs. They keep telling her she'd get more business if she was implanted, but she's fairly small, 5'2", very nice personality. I said, "Hey, let's meet up and be friends, you know, just friends." Nope. Artificial, you know, she was in magazines and stuff, I found out later, but it's like, oh, okay, whatever, to each their own, you know. So, as important to a relationship, you will continue to be unhappy. One thing to think about is anyone looked at a potential mate and said from a distance, "Damn, look at that personality and that one." I have my doubts. Physical attraction is the first thing humans look at, always will be. I agree. I mean, heck, being, you know, a lesbian, the first thing I look at is, oh, look at the person, look at the body, you know, look at the boobs. And then I say, well, I wonder how her personality is. Is it decent or is it toxic? Aaron's like, well, most women are basically, they'll look at you or me, you know, and they'll say they won't date me or you, and because, you know, and even if you want to make friends, they don't want to know you or me. And then sometimes he tells me on the street, well, I could get a woman, but I hang out with you all the time, so they think I'm gay or homosexual, you know. But yes, I agree completely with what you're saying up to now, right now, you know, because, you know, you are completely right. First thing people look for is an attraction, and that's where I want to talk about personality and looks. Now, you're right. Personality is also key, but it's also the attraction. If they have a good personality, go with their looks. Hey, and you guys hit it off great. That's great. To each their own. Now, what I've found is a lot of women, they can be all dolled up, like my sister said. If I had a rich guy and, you know, he molded me into the Barbie look, you know, his dream girl, then I would be taken care of. But how is that going to be love? He just wants a trophy wife. And I've met a lot of them. The guy across that beats on his girl, supposedly, from Aaron's words, he keeps her locked up. He's got 2 kids with her. She's very attractive. But if a guy looks at her, he gets into the face and says, I'm going to beat the piss out of you. You look at my girlfriend. It's like, dude, take a chill pill. Why would you want me? Good point. Sometimes I see him on my balcony. He's like, hey, how you doing, Rita? Good. Nice night. Yeah, you here for the fireworks? Yep. Cool. And then Aaron says, oh, guy's a jack off. I mean, like the other day, you know, we're talking about the neighbor and how excess money. And the manager says, well, I don't know where she's getting, the neighbor's getting their money. They wear designer clothes. She doesn't work. He works as an orchard worker. They have 3 kids. One basically wants to be a girl. They blame me for it, for moving in. The other one basically is not treated right. And the youngest gets everything they want. Well, they have 4 PlayStation 4s in a household of 5 members. He said, how the fuck does someone have $1,600 PlayStation 4s that are returning? Turned and told Aaron, I didn't see it. I can't confirm or deny it. Now, another thing I want to tell you about Aaron, in my personal experience, Cindy, 1981, and Cigar Addict, if you're watching it this far, you might find this kind of funny. I stopped giving a damn about politics and religion a while ago. Now, I'm a religious person. I believe in God. Aaron says, oh, God will forgive this, God forgive that, but he won't forgive the transgendered people for deceiving. Oh, each their own. But anyways, or the genetic women who chose money and security and looks over a decent guy. And Aaron says, I'm a decent guy. I don't know why no one wants me. You know, truthfully, Cindy, 1981, I look at him and I can't figure it out either. I was at a friend's house tonight and we were all having cigars. And we sometimes just pass, you know, we try different ones out. And he said, hey, I got these new $40 sticks. Aaron's like, it's overhyped. Well, we have our own cigar lighter we brought with us, and I had it because I light, you know, I have one in my pocket that's a 4-burner that drains fuel like crazy. And Aaron's like, don't use it, it takes too much fuel. Then we got this creme brulee torch I got free from Aaron's friend that came up here. He wanted a torch. Apparently to light a hot enough flame, to light dab, some type of high potent, like, weed or hash, that's concentrated so he can get high quickly. So he needed that. And he says, here, Rita, have this for your cigars. And I was like, oh, I can do it. He said, it's Rita's. Rita borrowed the torch from the neighbor. The neighbor said, sure. She went to her mom's for like 10 days and we watched Cat. So she's like, oh, okay. So when he left, he gave her 2 cans of propane. And there was like a 1/4 can left in the one because she uses it like candles and her cigarettes. And on the floor. And we always joke, well, the apartment might burn up and I'll lose everything I own because she's got a propane torch. The manager said no more. Now she keeps her torch outside in her shed until she wants it and then lights it there if she can't find her lighter. But she also was told when she uses her portable dryer in her outside storage shed, she's got to take the torch out, put it on the porch. She's like, I'm going to get to steal it. We don't keep it near a dryer. So she's been fighting the manager tooth and nail, you know, and she's always talking, well, if I had a breast job and got rid of my minor facial hair, I could get a woman, a guy, Rita. Yeah, but she's a meth user that's always half out of it, that's always doing illegal crap. So it's like, so, and, you know, fat and plumpy. But Aaron's like, oh, if you wanted to get laid, you can get laid with her. One night he said that, and I threw up. I'm just like, no. She's old, and, you know, I'm attracted to younger women. Well, I said, why don't you get laid? You're still a virgin. No. See? Then you bring it up to me. Well, See, that's sometimes the things that he comes out, and then he get like, we'll be walking along. That's something to talk about his personality before I'll continue with your comments. He turns around, and we're walking down the street. Sometimes I walk faster than him because I don't want to hear what he's got to say. And he's just like, you're walking faster. You don't want to hear what I got to say because I'm right. Then I go online, I go and tell him, and he's like, oh, so you are right. Or, you know, he's always talking about politics. Like, oh, the new Surgeon General is going to find a way to take everyone's guns away. Blah, blah, blah. And blah, 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 and on and on. He likes to stoke the fire and say he's right all the time. And then when I get combative with him and say, no, you're wrong, right on the street. And then he's like, Rita, you are more of a woman than most women I meet because you'll defend yourself as a woman saying that I'm wrong. But then when you're wrong, you don't admit it. You know, and then, you know, but this video, like I said, was kind of bothering me in the comments, but I'm staying neutral, you know. Let's see, I'm sorry you're wrong about your being fat. I'm sure whatever disorder is mentioned, the root cause of appear to make you look fat. Thank you for your making an excuse. Show me an an explanation clear. Well, he claims it's gynecomastia, Cindy. The problem is he was on estrogen for 5+ years, so breasts did develop bigger than normal breasts. My breasts were small, so, you know, cosmetic surgery was the answer like most transgender people. Heck, when I go into a bar, people ask me, are your breasts real? Are you a guy? I'm transgendered. And then I tell them, I don't want to be hit on. I want my drink. I want to be left alone. Deal. Next you know, they're saying, oh, this girl would like a drink. Well, fine, but I'm not hitting on you. I've had a few guys get mad at me, but they just turn around and say, oh. I mean, heck, when Aaron was living as a girl, they'd ask if his breasts were real. And he'd be like, oh, yeah, my breasts are real. No problem, you know, so, you know. Now, I didn't mean to offend the transgender community. It's just what I've seen from my own perspective. I didn't mean to degrade them. What the video was mainly about was how the transsexuals are going to try to get on Medicare after getting on disability, waiting 2 years, and then going in and say they can't live life anymore. They have to have a sex change or they're going to die. If a 74-year-old Army person who's a veteran lived for 74 years as a male and then comes out and says, oh, I can't afford it, I need Medicare, and Medicare lifts it. Medicare is lifting it, but they're having strict policies to actually get the surgeries done. But it's more likely they're lifting it and saying we're not discriminating against anyone, but, you know, they say now it's scientifically proven that it will extend someone's life. But yeah, at your tax dollar, the thing is me and myself, I don't know how old are you, Cindy? I figure you were born in 1981, so you understand that your tax dollars should not be spent paying for sex changes. Heck, if your mother and father are alive and they're on Medicare, chances are they're going to need to have some surgeries, and Medicare is going to say, nope, can't do, and then they'll turn around, possibly, and give the sex change to the transgendered person when the elderly paid their taxes and need it more. You know, my mother paid in all her life, and she got 4 years of hospice care and Medicare and Medicaid. Then she died. Died of cancer, but, you know, she brought it upon herself, so I can't say anything about that, but, you know, she got services she needed, so let's see. Make no mistake, Aaron, your physical attributes are not the main reason women do not date you. There are plenty of women who give you a chance. You may actually have to go out in the world and find them. The overwhelming factor is your piss-poor attitude. Well, Cindy, I have to agree with you because he's even asked out overweight women who said, oh, no, you're overweight. Now, and this woman's 500 pounds, you know, yet you turn around and see a guy pull in and he gets out of his car and he's like 5'5" Hispanic male who's got 5 kids, 1 wife, and he's porking her on the side. No offense to the word, Cindy, I'm not being offensive. And then gets her pregnant, and then she gets pregnant, and by the way, she lost her adopted niece, not adopted niece, her biological niece when she was abusing her. She'd be like, I'm too lazy, take the trash out. She's like in kindergarten. She'd be like, can you help me, Rita? I'd open the dumpster up, throw the trash in, she'd go in, and she'd be, fix me dinner, fix this one. She got out of line, the girl got beat. One night, the manager heard it. Police knocked on her door, she refused to open it. Next thing you know, CPUS was there, and they said, you're never going to have a kid again. As soon as she gave birth, she lived there a year. CPS came, knocked on her door, took the kid. She disappeared for child abuse. But thing is she didn't want Aaron for whatever reason. Even Aaron said, oh, this girl's attractive, her friend. Oh, well, I'm a successful painter and artist and all this stuff. And Aaron's like, what's the problem? You got the overweight one that says no. You got this one that says no. I mean, heck, one time I was talking to a girl, and I always told her before I got kicked out of the grocery store because of Aaron's service dog. I actually had the law in front of me, and I said, hey, the law states you can't kick someone out with a service dog. Dog wasn't bad. He's just like, had like 6 guys around us, and then my friend who worked there at one time got the store and says, yeah, they didn't want the transsexual in there, and they didn't want the gay guy with the service dog, so they made up something saying it was a health code violation. Health department came down on them, fined them. The Department of Justice fined them. We go to the other grocery store with no trouble, but before I left, I said to this one girl, you know, you're very attractive. Oh, thank you. And, you know, I said, I hope you're happy, and if you ever need, you know, she always asked me advice. Her and her sister always asked if I do their wedding. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. Well, they're still dating these guys, and I run into them periodically. I say, oh, can you do the wedding? Sure. Aaron's like, oh, yeah, blonde, hot. Small boobs, nice and everything, and I'm just like, okay. Well, anyways, he asked them, can I add you on Facebook? Oh, yeah, sure. As soon as he added them, they went and banned him. And he's like, what the fuck, shallow person? What'd you say? Nothing. I just added them, you know. And then we had a friend of ours that got angry because, A, she wanted breast implants. And she's like, oh, Rita and breast implants. Rita has it done. Rita got it done cheaper than me. Blah, blah, blah. And I had a new TV, and she's paying for a truck. Financed the truck for her boyfriend. Lives with her dad, and she wants breast implants. She's like 5'11", nothing, and she's like, I want triple D's. I want my guy to love me with my hooters. And, you know, Aaron said something one day about breast implants on Facebook. All of a sudden, she banned both of us. Me, because apparently I got a new TV because after 18 years it died, and she wanted breast implants. And, well, guess what? Things just went down the toilet. So then Aaron's like, well, this person's shallow, that person's shallow, this person's a piece of crap. So, you know, and every time you see it, you know, he says that person there, you know. Now, the other thing on the transgender issue, and I'm going to get you to say everything you said here is very good. Let me see. Let's see. Your piss poor attitude of poor me. You have an excuse for everything, it seems. So life dealt you a crappy hand. S.T hand. So shut the F up and deal with it. Strive to do better. Strive to do what they say you can't do. I'm not here to give you a pep talk, but quit acting like a vagina and act like a man. I know bigger pieces of crap that seem to be happening. If they can do it, so can you. You seem smart. He's got an IQ of about 180. He actually lost his account. Not lost his account, but every book he required at the library was Sufi poetry, you know, Muslim poetry before there was 2 factions of Muslims. You know, the Sufis were the loving Muslims. He asked for like 50 books on it, and the librarian says, no one's going to read it. It's going to waste of our money. Deleted everything. Turned around one day and says, what the fudge? Rita turns around and asks for 100 books on fly fishing. You order them all, like 10 at a time. She gets them and reads them all. Well, Rita's got Asperger's. She can only focus on certain subjects, so she's fine with it. And we understand her, but we can't do you because you are looking for poetry, and we're not paying $50 to $150 a book for you to read this and have it taken out of the library. And then that was it. He wrote the library and everything. Nothing happened to the librarian because the librarian said, yeah, I had to go to the headquarters and explain myself, and I explained pretty good, but the library backed me. And I'm like, well, you've been the head librarian for like 10 plus years, so you know what you says go. But Aaron, he's like, you know, so, you know, and complains about it. So seemed to like good alcohol and cigars. He does like cigars. He doesn't like alcohol. He hates alcoholics. Apparently his stepfather and his mother is drunks, and he hates me when I'm pissed drunk. And he doesn't want to know anyone who's a drunk or an alcoholic because he was abused by alcoholics. But one night I saw him get so pissed off at me, he drank like a fifth of champagne, half a bottle of cognac, and like a fifth of rice wine. What do you call it? Sake. Next thing you know, he threw up all over the damn linoleum. He could not hold it. He was spending like 3 hours cleaning it. I was sleeping, so I was like, what? Yes, I had to take my socks off, take a shower. This is when we were living together. And then after that, I was like, no more drinking for you, man. But I've done that a few times where I've made a butt out of myself. And he's like, people don't want to know you're drunk. So, like last night I drank so much because this whole conversation was bothering me. And he says, oh, well, it's not me. I'm not causing you to drink. And then I need to keep pulling you out of the liquor store when you see liquor, the liquor aisle, you know. You seem to know how to cook. Oh, he's an awesome cook. He claims he worked at a 5-star restaurant, but he got disabled because he had a mental breakdown. Like he said, almost killed the manager and all this crap. So I can't confirm or deny it. I wasn't there. These are good traits. Use them to your advantage. One piece of advice. Dress better. No much better than t-shirts. Always wear a collar. Dress for the women you want, not to have women you have. Peace out. Well, I've told him that too, but you know what? He claims that his finances aren't there, but he also claims that dentists are greedy and oral surgeons are greedy, and because he can't have Novocaine, Polcaine, or anything with adrenaline, he's got to be put under in a hospital setting for his teeth to be pulled. Because he can't do that. Like, I'll go in, they'll numb me up, and Aaron's sitting there and he's watching the watch. Next time, sew me up. 10 minutes later, here's your prescription, out the door. Aaron's like, what the fudge? They can get you done in 5 minutes and then sew you up in 5 out the door, and they have to pull for 2 hours. They break one tooth in front and one behind, pulling it, and then I got 2 broke ones, and now they're corroding, and I'm getting infections, and I've been infected for 4 years. What the fudge? I'm like, each their own. Maybe my teeth are brittler and they just pop out easier. I don't know. You know, on that aspect. So, my step-uncle that adopted me, who was my uncle's best friend, my biological uncle who died in 74, that I never knew, he made this desk, if you can see it behind me, Cindy. 50-year-old desk, made it in shop. That tells you how smart he was. He was in the Air Force for like 6 years. But anyways, his best friend who was in boot camp and went through them, he was gay. He basically told me if I was not transsexual and I lived for the ladies and I dressed better, I would get them. But then he said, well, your disability is being fetal alcohol syndrome, learning disabled, and cross-eyed is going against me. So being myself transgendered might be well worth it, but he said maybe I'd find a disabled person. Well, every disabled person I've talked to, they want someone with 6 or 8 pack, money, security, and a house. They want to be the housewife. They want to have the kids. And they want the man to take care of them. That's how the transgendered male to female are. Female to males that I've talked to basically would love to take care of their women. And I know a lot of them that do. They're like, I'll make the money. You take care of the kid. We'll get invertile fetalized, semen put in, from like the India clinic, or find a donor, a sperm donation clinic or whatever. They get pregnant and the girl's happy, and they're both father and wife. And then I hear the male to female, well, I want a guy like that, but I can't have a trans man. I need a genetic man. Then, you see all these transgendered women saying, why are all men a-holes? By the way, before when I finish uploading this, and this is uploaded, I want you both, Cigar Addict and Cindy 1981, if you can take the time. It might take 20 to 30 minutes out of your day, but there's a video, a link I'm going to give you. Aaron made 7 videos of transsexuality, from this to this, talking about all 7 types. You can see from his perspective, because he tried living as a woman for 5 years, what he thinks of the transgender community. He tells me all the time I'm living as a woman for the wrong reasons. And he puts me down on that all the time, saying, oh, well, you're not transgender. Then he turns around and says, oh, well, Medicare is paying for it, take advantage of it. Or, you're going to benefit from this, And even Cigar Addict said that to a point. So, on that aspect. So let's continue. Then Aaron says, I didn't know defending oneself was making excuses. Again, thank you for pointing this out. I see my error in my ways. I'm just sorry, pitiful excuse maker and worthless male who doesn't deserve to feel ever love nor friendship. Can't believe I never saw it. I appreciate the time you take from your busy life to attempt to correct my faults. I am in your debt. Since I do not wish to dwell on this, then perhaps today we may have a conversation, something more pleasant. Well, I've tried talking to him since we made this video, and since you made the comment, Cindy, and he tells me not to dwell on it, but, thinking about it, the only ones that I've seen that tell me that, rich people, is my sister. I've talked to younger girls, but, younger girls don't want someone almost in their 40s. Even Aaron, when I were talking about attraction, and Aaron and I talked about attraction, and here's where I'm going to go into the attraction part, is a woman or a trans woman who's all hot and sexy with makeup on, guys are going to flock to them. Maybe their personality's bad. Maybe they can get them drunk and get laid. Some guys find out the next morning they got laid with a woman who's trans, and they throw a fit. And other times they don't even know. The girl fakes it, fakes the orgasm, fakes this. and then goes to one or two more training meetings and says, oh, I got laid, it felt great. But then you talk to a doctor, and the doctor says they only are making it up in their head. They don't actually get sensate. Whereas a genetic woman has orgasms. Well, Aaron's almost 40. He's 37. He's still single, and he's, a virgin. So, So when he brought up that whole thing about the 57-year-old downstairs, I barfed. Because, frankly, she's not attractive. She's a meth addict. And it made me disgusted that he would even bring it up. And I don't even talk about sex. I mean, once in a while I talk about wanting to raise a family, but I know that's never going to happen. Hormones probably have made me sterile or fertile or whatever you call it. But every time I get my sperm tested, they say my hormone levels are making more to compensate with the estrogen, so they don't know why. So it's like, oh, well, maybe it's a good thing from God. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is you've made complete 100% accurate points, and I cannot in my right mind to deny you. You're completely right. There might be a small percentage. I grew up, my mom told me, find a woman if you're gonna live as a man, and this is what she said to me at 9 years old, because I told her I wanted to be a girl at a young age. She supported it. She said, when you're 18, you can start transition. I started it at 19. When I grew up, she says, you'll find someone you're attracted to, not because of their looks, not because of their money, not because of the financial aspect, but because you like them. My first missus is a male to female transsexual who was 20 years older than me, and we traveled a lot, and I enjoyed it. One day, she had some financial trouble. I didn't know her house was partly her brother's, and he declared bankruptcy. Well, she didn't have the finances to buy her half the house, and they forced her to sell it. So she got her half the house. I said, put it towards your surgery. So she tried setting everything up. Well, things fell apart, and when we found out our property, because we were putting everything together to have her move over, she was going to have her surgery come over as a woman, and immigration told her if she did this, this, and this, she can get in. She had everything lined up, all the money lined up. Things fell apart over here. Our storage shed was broken into. My sister, the one that doesn't want to talk to me now, robbed it. Stepfather, basically, I got a letter from my mother that said this is what happened. My brother died in Alaska, brother-in-law. My sister in Alaska lost her husband Christmas Day and needed mom. When my sister scolded my other sister, my sister said, who cares? We're not coming home. I need the money more. Well, mom wrote a letter saying if you want to disown the family because of it, fine. Well, my missus sent me home to deal with it, and when I did, 6 weeks later, I couldn't get in touch with her. I called up her brother, and he says, he's sitting down. She died. When I told my mom was furious. You costed someone's life. I don't care. They were a freak. Now Rita can't be a girl anymore. Well, I've given so much in my heart to not let go of my dream of being who I am complete. That's all I want. That, my only friend is Aaron. And yes, he has a lot of excuses, and some of them I can't confirm or deny, like his stories of his childhood being abused. I just have to accept it, as my mama said. Now, the thing about the women, I've told him, go find yourself your soulmate. All I want is a woman that can be my roommate, my lover, and my best friend. Sex isn't an option. And then I talked to him tonight about looks. I said, I'm attracted to these young women that are models, that are wearing makeup. He's like, oh, like this one? And I'm like, yes. Then he said, here's her without her makeup. I'm like, ugh. Not attractive. He says, yeah, the makeup sometimes makes more of the woman more attractive. Without the makeup, they might be butt ugly. I said, yeah, but their personality could be good. He said, this model, does she have a good personality? Well, Miss Angela said she's got an overinflated head and ego. He says, there you go. Did you ask her to be friends? Yes. What'd she say? F off, even though she's from another country. There you have it. What about the beautiful cigar-smoking women from the South American, Central American country? They all told me to kiss my butt. There you go. They're all overinflated. They have their own opinions, And then I get the women who say, oh, I love a lady boy or a trans person or a transsexual. And I get Russians and Filipinos, and Aaron says, whoa, they're scammers. They're only trying to use you. Don't go for them. Then my cousin marries a Filipino and says, oh yeah, I got her in the country, I married to her legally, she's great, blah, blah, blah. You just got to find the right one, Rita. But Aaron turns around and says, oh no, you don't want that one, that one's a scammer. And then, I've known Miss Angela for 5+ years, and And, you know, one year I followed Aaron's footsteps, and he made a video about all people that make excuses and throw roadblocks up are no good for people. And her and her sister got very angry and didn't talk to us for about 6 weeks. And then, you know, finally I didn't want to talk to her. Aaron says, let her come, blah, 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 you know, all this stuff. Finally we had to make up, but her sister did not want to talk to Aaron ever again. And Aaron's like, I'd send her a present, but she doesn't even want to give me the time of day, or didn't want, and told me she doesn't like long emails. Miss Angela's been a sweetheart to me. I mean, I just sent her some Christmas gifts, and I'm like, open up Christmas Day, be happy, you know. And Aaron's like, you have a good heart. Yes, but Aaron also says I get angry. But lately, Aaron's getting more and more cantankerous. He calls that with me. You're a woman, you're cantankerous today. You're on your period. When we're on hormones, our body adjusts, and once a month we get the snippy moodiness, just like genetic women. And Aaron's like, whoa, take a chill pill. Well, anyways, when it came to him, he's getting a short temper at the moment. We'd be walking along, he'd grab me, and he'd be like, whoa, the car would step back, and he'd go, mother effing blah, 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 this is crosswalk. Or one day, we were getting halfway across, and he had to pull me all the way back, and this semi-truck sitting there, and pulling, and then he's like, hey, mother ever, blah, 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 screaming at the trucker, and the trucker opens the door, gives him the bird, realizes the stop sign says walk, you know, and it says walk, 15, 14, 13. Next thing you know, he's screaming and yelling, and we have to wait for another light, and he's like, that mother effer is in a effing warm heated truck, and we're in like 20 degrees with a wind chill of 10, trying to get home with our groceries, and he just barrels across there, not giving a damn of the citizens, those mother effers. And, you know, he likes to sit there and say, oh, you know, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, you know, this or that. And it's like, so I've asked him time and time again, don't argue with me, don't cause me any trouble, I don't want to argue with you, I don't want the police stopping me by myself going, what was the argument about 2 days ago? We got a call. Politics. Can you cut the politics out? I asked him, oh, okay. Next thing, oh, did you hear about blah, blah, blah? Not hearing it. Well, you should. You just don't want to hear it. If I hear you about this model or that one or this person, I don't want to hear it either, but I got to listen to you. Then I tell, you know, and then sometimes he tells me, as a woman, I turn things against him. Oh, well, you know, like my sister. Sister turned to talk to me one day when we had to wait when my sister's niece was supposedly stealing. She was like, oh, you got to find someone else, blah, blah, blah. And then Aaron's like, and then she turns and says, oh, Aaron, if you ever want to get away from Rita, let me know. I'll move you out personally. You're a great guy. And Aaron's like, oh, okay. And then Aaron tells me, it's like, my sister told me she was going to do the same for me. No, that's not true. It's me. She doesn't like you. And then he turns around and tells me my sister was wasted on drugs one night, drunk when my mom's alive, took off her bra, I hung it up in the bathroom and said, oh, I hope Rita tries on my new blue bra. Do you want to feel these, Aaron? Oh, they're so soft. And Aaron's like, oh, do you want to like get laid with me? So, and then I'm like, So I'm sitting there, and one night I had some legal issues. That's my sister. My sister turns around and says, I would never touch him with a 10-foot stolen penis. What the hell's his problem? Brings it up to him, and he's like, oh, yeah, you said it. She's like, no, it never happened. Aaron's like, oh, yeah, it is. Well, guess what? It upset me to the point that, you know, certain things bother me, and I brought it up to her the last time she was out visiting me, and she was just fuming, you know. And then she turned around and told me, yeah, if you wanted to wear my bra, go for it. I don't care. At the time, she didn't want a transgender sister, but she, you know, she said, I did say that, but I didn't say, you know, certain things. I said you were jokingly saying, oh, yeah, but I know you like to see the colors, you know, and, you know, when I gain weight, I get bigger breasts, and when I lose my weight, I get smaller breasts, and I have excess bras, and she said, I should have sent you some, I had a whole bunch here, and I'm like, you know, but she doesn't want them going to Goodwills, because they charge $5, $6, $7 used. She's like, if anyone can use them, maybe you can fit into them, but, you know, then my niece, she had like a whole suitcase of them, brand new with tags. It's like, how many bras do you need? Oh, I need one for every day of the week. So, you know, and then Aaron's like, yeah, your niece was wanting to have sex with me. I'm like, right, okay, nice. And then I gotta sit here and listen to him tell me, oh, all I want is love, you know. Oh, I like women with small breasts. You're the one that likes big breasts. Well, I have my own opinion on what I like, but if I find a girl with a good personality and small breasted, fine. Oh, no, you tell her to get implants. You know, so then he turns around, Cindy, and he says, oh, well, the only reason I'm not getting anyone is because they think I'm gay and I'm with you. Well, if that's the case, get rid of me. Oh, I can't do that. You're my only friend, pretty much. Then he tells me, like tonight, oh, yeah, all the girls I dated in high school and had coffee with and lunches and stuff, they're all single still. What the fudge? I'm like, I'm not going there. I just want to get home, get this video done. I got a feeling it's going to be a long one when I'm trying to make it short. So, But anyways, when you say that, dude, you suck at defending yourself. I've told him that many times, and every time he turns around, the same thing happens. Cindy, he gets very combative with me, so I try not to say or do anything because I really don't want to argue with him anymore. I mean, like you said with the transgendered woman who had $300,000 of plastic surgery, I just talked to her, just trying to be friends with her, and she said, oh yeah, this is what I want. I deserve it just like a genetic girl. Fine, whatever. And then I asked the question, what if the guy doesn't know? Well, he shouldn't know. I mean, I'm a girl after all. He shouldn't say, oh, well, you were born male. I have to have a genetic female. I'm as good as a genetic female, if not better than a genetic female. And I'm like, and I hear that all the time with the transgender community. So I just sit there and cringe. And then Aaron's like, I hate him. I despise him. And he's like, the only one I truly like is you, Rita, because yourself. You'll smoke cigars when a tranny says, oh, well, you're a man, you smoke cigars. And you'll drink good scotch, cognacs, and, well, you're a man, you drink these drinks. You need girly drinks. I've had girly drinks. You get girly drinks, you drink too many of them, and you're still acting stupid. And I've learned that I can't keep drinking because it just makes me too damn stupid, So, on that part, on the transgendered issue. Now, when it comes to the makeup and stuff, a woman makes themselves or dolls themselves up to be attractive. They're looking for their possible mate. I'm not going to deny them. If you're attracted to them and they're attracted to you, it might work. But Aaron says usually the guy just bangs him a few times, throws him to the curb, and then finds another girl, and then does the same. And when he's 40 or 50, But then Aaron turns around like tonight and says, well, what if the tranny woman is hot and gorgeous at 20, but 60, their face is like, boobs are, and no one wants them? I mean, as a woman ages, they lose their sexiness after 40, unless they have had tons of plastic surgery and they want to keep being young. But eventually, plastic surgery is going to look so bad after so many of them that it's not funny. So what are they doing? They're putting themselves in the poorhouse to attract themselves to their mate. And then he says half the time, even if they find the right one, like a male to female transgender, finds the guy, doesn't tell him, and eventually finds out, he divorces, it's because of her. Now, I've seen a lot of marriages end in divorce because they can't get along, they were attracted to each other, one personality went toxic, maybe the one thought the other was cheating, who knows. But eventually the marriage falls apart. In this country, marriage falls apart more often than being held together. I mean, like, my adopted grandparents, they're in their, 32nd year of marriage. This is, her second husband. She lives with him, loves him, takes care of him. But, she's 89 years old this January, 90. Alive and well. He's, 79, 80 years old. He's alive, and they love each other, and she even said it. After a certain age, sex isn't an issue. It's more of loving the person for who they are. And Aaron's like, yeah, well, after a certain age, you can't get sex unless you're an 80-year-old woman that has a ton of plastic surgery, looks like she's 30, and still wants to enjoy the finer things in life. Then she spent $500,000 for that plastic surgery just to look young again. And even if she's physically fit and 80, there's a problem, And, a 20-year-old finds out, he's not going to be happy that he's dating a 80-year-old when he can have some young, hot, fine woman at his age. That's no problem. Now, I agree with you about the whole thing about a woman doesn't want to take care of a man. That's true. I mean, that is completely true, And I think Aaron doesn't want to be taken care of, but I can't confirm or deny it. All I know is I take care of the dishes 90% of the time. I left them in the sink tonight. Forgot to do them because we got back from a cigar, and he's like, dog time. I'm going to go online for a bit. And then he decided to play video games. Well, I'm just sitting here reading and on my tablet. He's like, Oh, well, it's time to go. So we went. And then he's like, what took you so long? You're a woman. You said 5 minutes. It was 15. I said I had to use the little girl's room. You women, you take too long. Yeah, it's like you in the bathroom. You'll sit on the can for 15 minutes reading your tablet in the morning, drinking your coffee, waking up. You women. Okay, well, so anyways, as you guys can see, the video is a long one, but you made your complete points. I tried to stay neutral. I can't defend him because he has his own opinions. Yes, I defended my own, but I've only seen it from my sister, and my sister telling my niece to find a rich guy. Every other person, my aunt is married to a trucker. He's not well off. He's had cancer off and on, apparently. My other uncle went down the toilet with all the money and inheritances he got. Him and his wife spent it all. He spent it, blew it, everything else. Now he lives in subsidized housing. He lost his money. He's got his retirement only, and he's waiting for death to knock on his door. My mother died, my uncle died, and my other uncle doesn't want to know me because I'm transgender. Then you got an aunt who's Mormon, who's not married to a wealthy guy. He's disabled, I believe, from what I understand. But you know what? It's love. And they've been married like 30 years. So technically, in my opinion, those are the old-fashioned marriages that will hold together. The Mormon family, my aunt and her 5 boys, they're all married and they are all going to hold together. My sister couldn't even hold a marriage together or 2 long-term relationships. Well, she was going with the wrong guys and they were beating her. My mother told me when she was dying, wait till I die, crap's going to hit the fan between you two and it's going to be bad blood. My mom called it and she was right. My other sister in Alaska, her husband died of a heart attack Christmas Day. She hates Christmas and she hates me and she hates my other sister. My other sister for robbing it, but they tried to mend everything together when she was trying to take care of my mom when I was in Ohio trying to get Aaron's dental work done. Again, free clinics, this, that, and the other in Cleveland. Didn't want to help Aaron because there was no dentist on call or he needed to do a financial credit check. And so 3 months in Cleveland reading the Book of Mormon off and on made me get drinking a lot. His dad asked us to leave, so I said, okay, I'll get his tickets. And his dad said, okay, but his dad didn't want him there because he brought his dad down under depression. So, you get that idea. Then he goes down to his mom, and his mom was trying to take all his money. And then he says Miss Angela's family takes all her money because it's a family. You know, the family has to stick together. So, 4 daughters, 2 grandkids, the mother and the father in one house. And everyone's money's pulled together to take care of the household. Well, that's fine and dandy if that's Aaron's theory. But, you know, who knows? I mean, Angela has her own theories. I have my own, but I'm not going to question Angela. I mean, I care for Angela enough to stay out of her business when it comes to it. Aaron, of course, likes to bring up theories. He says he's an observer. He'll observe, but he won't say anything. Then he'll come to me and be like, oh, that guy had 4 PS4s. No, could be or couldn't be. Oh, did you see the one day she was wearing a designer gown? Yes, I did. Did you also know that rumor has it she had breast implants? Oh, no, she's a fat plumpy. Fat people can still get breast implants. No, they can't. So, who knows? You know, I mean, I don't even argue with him anymore. I've asked him many times. I don't want to get into arguments. I don't want to do this. And then he tells me I argue with him when I'm drunk. No, I don't. I sit there and act stupid, and it's like, I'm going home. Like last night. I drank so much whiskey that I threw up, actually. And he's like, so, those mules are great. And I'm like, well, I puked up the burgers. They had like ones with the corn in it. And he's like, must have been, oh yeah, you drank too much. That's why. He says, you probably smell. I said, no, I climbed in the shower this morning. Showered. Oh. Well, okay. Well, that makes sense, Rita. But still, you know. And, yeah. So, you know, and then he talks about how all these people that he's known that are friends, they got married. They don't want to even know us anymore. It's like, oh, they got married and they're with their husbands, you know, that's what happens. And my friends say, oh, when we're married, we're still going to hang out. And they don't. And he's like, F marriage. Then he says, oh, I want a wife. And, you know, I said, but you said whoever you get won't let you play video games, do everything. They'll throw you out the door until you get a job. Even if you have a service dog. Oh, that's what I'm thinking. And so, you know, I hear all these things all the time, but truthfully, I can't put everything together. I mean, I'm learning disabled, so I can't just sit there. And sometimes I dwell on things. It's like, you know, and Aaron's like, well, do you want me to interpret what she said? No, I'll figure it out on my own. Well, I can know. But you get the point. Okay, this video was made directly to answer the question. Cigar addict, I hope you watched it this far. If you didn't, oh well. Miss Cindy, all I'm saying is you're entitled to your own opinion, and I can't confirm or deny or approve. All I know is the transgender women at all these groups and support groups and every time. Heck, my doctor even told me she didn't want to help me because she thought I was going to deceive a guy. And other various reasons why she didn't feel comfortable helping a transsexual. Well, the law says if she's I'm under her care, she's got to take care of me. So she's going to have to learn. So, but on that. And then Aaron goes into places where girls always asking where Aaron's dog is. And he's like, oh yeah, she's got an interest in me. If she's got an interest in you, get the balls up to talk to her. Instead, oh, I'll take a pizza and a soda. And then she delivers it. And I'm like, can I get an extra? Oh, here you go. Before I go, can I get some menus? And then, oh, sure. Then I give a tip, and Aaron's just like, I mean, it's like the girl that I always say is beautiful at the grocery store. He's like, oh, yeah, she's got an interest in me. I'm like, what if it's me? And, I mean, she snuck right behind me, tapped me. I didn't even know she was there. Aaron says, oh, I knew she was there. I saw her at the corner of my eye. Why don't you let me know? Well, I didn't want to say anything. And then I tell her, oh, you look lovely today. Oh, I don't feel lovely. Well, you are. Like the other day, Aaron's just like, oh, you have hair extensions? I'm like, I never even knew they existed. And Aaron's like, you women, you got to learn new things every day. I'm like, okay. And then, there's an overweight woman that's very nice and, he's like, oh, she's nice and all, but I think she's got a toxic personality. She wants someone who's Hispanic or, wants to take care of her kids. I could be a great stay-home dad, but women won't give me the chance. Then I'm thinking, one day, Aaron, I'll figure you out. One day I will, and I will have the answer from God, but this isn't the day. Because at times he's a mystery, and Aaron's like, oh, I figured you out a long time ago, Rita. You turn things around against me, you do this. But the thing is, I'm neutral. I don't want to talk about politics and religion because it causes arguments. I don't want to hear certain things. I mean, heck, I've helped him out on the gynecomastia thing, the bigger breast thing, but I figured they'd turn him down because he was on estrogen. And that's what he said, but he's got to give it a chance. If he does that, maybe getting rid of those male breasts that he created bigger from hormones might find him a nice looking woman. I mean, here's what he told me tonight. He said he's met women that say, oh, you're the perfect guy. You're always looking after Rita. You're always looking after Rita's mom. You're always looking after her family, this, that, and the other. You always help out the elderly. You do this and that. You're the perfect guy. And he says, oh, well, thank you. Would you like to have some coffee sometime or lunch? Oh, no, I wouldn't date someone like you. But you just said I was the perfect guy. And I'm just sitting there thinking tonight, yeah, okay, that's nice. To each their own. So, anyways, if you got this far, Cindy, you understand my theories and my thoughts, I mean, you've made some valid points. Yes, I am disgusting when it comes to the transgender community, but I have my own opinions. I'm a minister of the Universal Life Church in Modesto, California. Universal Life Church out of Seattle, Washington, the monastery, and the Unitarian Universalist, and one other church. And I'm very well knowledgeable on the Book of Mormon, the Quran, and the Bibles, the Geneva Bible, the ESV Bible. I've read interlinear Bibles. I can't confirm or deny transgender or gays or lesbians are going to hell, which brings me to the lesbians and gays for 1 second. But I will get to that. I'm all knowledge in this because I educated myself on my own time. But I even read the Gnostics, and Jesus never said anything, Jesus did say, when you marry, two flesh become one. Same with God, in the Old Testament, blah, blah, blah. No one should have divorce. Divorce should only be done if a man or woman has committed adultery. That's it, having sex with, and committing adultery. Well, I agree. But, every genetic woman out there could be disagree. Heck, I've met women that told me they'd marry me, but I'm fluent in those holy books, and they are atheists, and they can't date because they're atheists. Well, to each their own. But when it comes to gays and lesbians, as I was trying to tell, I was talking to Aaron about this. Most gay guys won't date a transsexual. It's post-operative because they want the dong. I knew one woman who lost her husband. They were dating for so many years. They got married. She had the surgery. He took her to the cleaners, got the house because he wanted her to be the husband. It was same-sex marriage, and he wanted her to keep her dong. He didn't care if she had boobs and stuff. He just liked the penis. When that was gone, that was it. He was like self-centered, shallow. He went to school. She put him to school, got him a degree and doctorate, and what is it called? Plants and stuff like that. Plants, and herbology or something. But anyways, so then you got the lesbians that would never date even if they were attracted, they'd be more not likely. It's a 0.5% of lesbian would choose male to female. They actually want another genetic woman that's attractive in their personality. They like women. They want a real vagina. They don't want a man-made vagina. And that's where I was trying to go with the transgendered women. A lot of them lie, and they want to say that they're intersexed or born both, and then their guy finds out, and they've had sex many times with an inverted penis, and they throw a fit. And then they say, well, I'm a woman as much as a genetic woman. And they say, no, you're not. And they get angry with it. And then you find out all these women, the trans women, want everything the genetic women want, so they try to do it, and then the genetic women look to me and say, well, your people are really bad and deceitful. So from that aspect, but you're right. There's not many. I've met many women around the world I've talked to that are married happily in poor relationships. They were attracted to their personalities over their bodies. And if you can get past that, you are doing great. I think Aaron might be, I don't know. His father supposedly hates women. He's never remarried after 36 years ago. He's never dated. He's been a hermit. Aaron claims maybe closeted homosexual because he always hanged out gay people in the 80s and 90s and then backed away from them, got into his own company, and then stayed in as a house-dwelling hermit and then went to the coffee shop to read twice a day while making his money and doing computer programming. So Aaron says closeted homosexual, he thinks. His dad never wanted a kid. Aaron was used as a pawn. I never brought this up to his dad. I didn't want to it caused bad blood between them. I've always kept all my emotions in. Aaron says, well, you're a woman. You keep all your emotions in, and then you bring them out when you're very frustrated or angry or confused. And I can be a gabber. I mean, like this video. And so all I just wanted to say was, when it comes to the gay men have their own ideas. Maybe they're in for some gay men, the gay men want what they want too. And they don't want to settle for anything less. The lesbian women are the same. The genetic women are the same. I have my own standards, but I don't push my own standards because I'm transgender. Who's going to want me? Aaron, he doesn't even want me. He's just like, oh, you're my best friend. That's fine. And then he turns around and says, oh, well, if I wasn't hanging out with you, I could probably have someone. And then he talks about the douchebag neighbor who beats his 20-year-old, 21-year-old neighbor, the girlfriend. And Aaron's talking about the girl next door's boyfriend that beats him. Now they got an eviction notice again. And he's like, if she just got out of the relationship, but she's already used goods because she's got 2 kids with one guy. So she's trying to hold it together, hoping he'd marry her. But he just beats her, keeps her in as a cage, took away her car, won't let her use the cell phone, doesn't have the internet, makes her watch TV and take care of his 2 kids. And she thinks, well, I need to let the babies have their daddy in. Aaron's like, what the hell relationship is that? I'm like, I haven't seen it, but I only hear it from him, and he was complaining to the manager, and she agreed. She's like, ow, And I'm just sitting there like, okay, can we change the subject? How about my work order for my sink? Yeah. And then she's like, we're not renewing their lease in next year, so they're out anyways. I'm like, good for them. Can we just, then we walk out, and Aaron's like, oh yeah, blah, blah, they did this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I wasn't there, I didn't see it. I must, and then he says, what's wrong? I said, I was drunk last night, I passed out. I don't even know what happened. I watched one movie, and I puked, and then I watched it again this morning, and I feel fine. And then when I got up, I was like, and Aaron's like, hey, did you shower this morning? Yes. Well, I was waiting for you to wake up and send me an email. Oh, well, I just got up. I couldn't sleep. The neighbor, I figured you'd be sleeping till 2. Really? Me sleeping till 2? That's amazing. So, anyways, this is already 1 in the morning. I gotta get some sleep. Aaron wanted to go do some errands tomorrow, but he canceled again because he's gotta wait for his cigars to come in. He's afraid the neighbor next door, the little kid that's the 21-year-old gets beat all the time. Apparently, he said he saw the little kid pick up packages from downstairs, take them upstairs, and the mother had no heart to put it back on the door, so they just left it in their house, and the packages were lost. And then the insurance claim, and they had to ship them out again. And Aaron's like, I don't want them, they're a thief. What if my cigars are taken? He'll just smoke them all and say these are great things, or fill it with weed. So the bottom line is, in my opinion, is I'm neutral completely. Yes, I hear from him always talking about people that make excuses, and then he's like, oh yeah, and then he basically says, some people are shallow. Well, you made your own opinion. I can't say you're shallow. I don't know you. All I know is your words. I mean, heck, I've heard people like others say, oh, well, if someone's texting on it that doesn't have their own videos, then they must be a fat moo-moo or frumpy person behind the computer that doesn't want to show what they look like. So technically, they have no legs to stand on. To each their own. Everyone has their own opinion. So, everyone's attracted to who they're attracted to. Me, I have my own attractions, but you know what? I've already realized that being a trans woman, I'll probably, even if I had all the plastic surgery in the world, unless you meet someone who's desperate, no one's going to want me, so who cares? I can speak my mind. Aaron, on the other hand, well, if I was with you, people think because I hang out with you, no one wants me. Uh-huh. And then he says the girl he does find is going to throw him off the video games for the rest of his life. He just wants to be a house husband, cook, clean, and, and etc. But then he says, well, no one wants him now because he's got Moppy, the service dog. Well, to each their own. Excuses. Some say they're excuses. Others say it's reality. I'm just neutral because you can tell me what you want. I'll listen to you. He'll tell me what he says. I'll listen to him. But I'll make my own opinions and determine my own opinions without pissing off anyone. Now, if I pissed you off in this video, I'm sorry. I'm just speaking from my own heart and mind of what I know and what I've seen for 10 years with Aaron. Now, he is a great guy. I mean, from what I've seen. Yes, I've seen him try to stoke the fire on conversations that gets me angry, and I've asked him not to do it anymore because I'm tired of having the police stop me by myself asking me what was the argument about when they find out. And he's like, the guy's antagonistic at times. And then he says, oh no, it's you. You just don't want to be wrong. You're a woman. You don't want to be wrong. Whatever. So, anyways, I don't know if the hormones changed his mind or if he's got multiple personalities in him, that he's got one that's just basically a female vagina or whatever. I don't know, but every time I see him, he's down to earth. He looks after everyone, but he also gripes about how he doesn't have anyone. Now, maybe, just from your opinion, maybe if he did change his clothes and did what he needed to, he can find someone. Maybe if he stayed away from me, he can find someone, but he's one of those that wants to be, if he can't, if I wasn't around, he said he'd be an apartment-dwelling hermit, going to the grocery store just to get his groceries and then spending the rest of the time in his apartment, not going out except to walk his dog. Otherwise, he'd stay in and be watching movies, music, video games, reading, and not caring. But then he says he's got to look after me because, I would get lonely or bored or not know what to do. And that night, like right now, while he's probably watching a movie on YouTube or etc. I mean, heck, sometimes he complains, oh, your internet was so slow. What happened? I was uploading a movie. Why were you doing that? Because I own the internet. Well, I don't own it. I rent it. And while I'm paying for it, I don't see you donating any money. Well, I cook and clean for you. That's a good trade-off. Oh, yeah, my bill's $92 a month. Phone and internet. We have 15 megs download. We're only getting less than what we're paying for. Oh, well, I can call them for you. And so I don't want to ramble on and on and on, but you get the point, Cindy. I'm taking a neutrality on this. Your words, you made perfect good statements, and I can't deny your statements. I mean, there you have it. And when it comes to Aaron, well, he made some good statements too, but you know what? Your comebacks were pretty good too, because, I've seen it, and then, I had to dwell on it because, yes, I am disgusting when it comes to the transgender community. Yes, I am disgusting when it comes to blaming all genetic women want a rich guy. I only see it from two people in my life. Everyone else I've seen, it's been, I mean, ugly people with ugly people, and they have a family, and they're happy, and some of them have money, some of them don't. It's like, to each their own. And then I see these cuties, it's like, oh, I won't give you the time of day. And Aaron's like, why? And I just sit there and be like, And then, I fall in love with online girls like Filipinos and Russians, and it's like, oh, they're scammers, they're going to ask you for money. It's like one lady messaged me tonight, basically coming out saying she, if I want to take care of her and ready to be her man, go for it. But when I went to check on her profile on Facebook just to see who she is so I can remove her, her account was banned by Facebook. I know the Facebook administrator, so, and they're like, oh, don't worry, we banned her. Oh, okay, thank you. So, because she was doing this to like 20 other guys, it's like, she's angling for money. Some women do that from other countries. They think, oh, we're stupid. And then Aaron says all Filipinos are scammers, all Russians are scammers, all Asians are scammers, all Europeans are scammers. Or all European are rich snoots that want rich snoots. Well, let them have rich snoots. I don't care. If you find someone that's poor or not poor, basically the bottom line is you get the point. It's all about, not about looks. It is about attraction. If two people are falling in love and they're both attracted to each other, yeah, it can work, but they got to work at it. Plus the fact, they got to make sure, if they do get married, that they can hold it together and not like be a statistic in this country where it's divorce. And then I hear that all the time from Aaron. Oh, well, look at that person. They're in their third marriage. Good for them. Look at that person. That one wants to be 20 again with breast implants and young. Maybe. Well, I heard she wants to look like her daughter. Well, her daughter has implants. Oh, yeah, well, whatever, to each their own. I don't care. And, and then I try to defend these people, and then he gets angry with me. He's like, my mom's purely evil, and tells me the story. And he's like, if you back my mom, then I don't want to know you. It's like, I can't back your mom, but I don't know your mom, so I have to stay neutral on it. Till I meet your mom. It's, well, my dad's evil. He told me outright he didn't want me. Well, I never challenged his dad on that one either, because I'm not going to add fuel to a fire. When Aaron turns around and tries to turn things against me on many aspects, my sister, my family at times, I'm just like, we're not going there, change the subject. So nowadays, when we're talking, it's like, oh yeah, I was watching this YouTube video, and is it something I would be interested in? No, it's just a movie I saw that I thought you might like to listen about. Fine, go on. And then I'd be telling him about something. He says, I don't want to hear about this girl or that girl or this. Well, I do find attraction. They're stuck up snoots. You won't have a chance with them. So quit daydreaming. Fine. Did you ask them out? I asked if I can get to know them better as friends. What happened? They turned me down. Yeah, it's because you're a freak. But you'll deal with it. Yes, I've accepted it. Then you'll drink because of it. But then you'll blame me for your drinking, and it's not me. Okay. So, you get the whole point, Cindy. So anyways, for all of you that got all the way to this video, I'm going to make the tag simple. I don't think anyone's going to watch this because it is 1 hour and 28 minutes long. But if you guys do, please leave feedback, suggestions, and comments. I need a shower. I need my Bible time. I do want to get ready for bed too because it is late. So, with that said, may God bless you, may God bless me, may God bless the world. And I wasn't trying to belittle or badmouth Aaron. I know Aaron's not going to spend 1 hour and 28 minutes watching this just because he has no intentions of watching something this long coming from me. A lot of stuff coming out of my mouth is mostly gas anyways, from his opinion. So the best thing to do in that opinion is, like I said, let him play his video games and I read, or try to focus on something we both like that we don't get into a combative argument over because, arguments. That said, please add and subscribe, please post comments, leave feedback, suggestions. Thank you. May God bless the world.